share with you 21 things I miss about living in the U.S. while I live in Thailand. This is the first thing. American football, going to the games. This is American culture. It's the camaraderie, being around the friends, the food, the atmosphere. One of the unique times all Americans, no matter race, religion, politics, we're all united in enjoying sport. Next, I'm going to go somewhere more quiet and share with you 20 more things that I miss about the U.S.
Yeah, I miss American football, but I also miss this. This is the next thing I miss. Public parks in the U.S. And you might say in Thailand there's some parks, but it's nothing like America, where every city has really great open green spaces and parks. And it's the one time where Americans get out of their cars and they might bring their dogs down here, walk. You feel a sense of community because for the most part, as you know, when we're in the US, we're stuck and trapped in traffic, in a car, on the road. But you come down here in the morning or the evening, it's just packed with people jogging, working out, walking their dogs, and it's kind of a sense of community. Now, the next thing I miss about the US when living in Thailand, I'm gonna show you. The next thing I miss is sidewalks. We kind of take it for granted in the US, but across much of Asia, you can't walk. You know, even if you're somewhere like Phuket in Thailand, there's no sidewalks. You can't go out walking around the town without danger. And across the US in every town or city, we have beautiful sidewalks to walk on. And the next thing I miss, right here, keep following me here, and I miss this, bike lane. If you come out here and ride your bike, you have a reserved space for bikes, which is kind of nice. So it's the next thing I miss about the US when living in Thailand. Hello, sir. You gotta love New Orleans. All this charm, all these old street cars. But another thing that I miss about the US, am I making the obvious, but check out the sky today. All this beautiful blue sky. And for the most part, anywhere you go in the US, the air quality is really good. And it's definitely a lot better than anywhere in Thailand. And I do miss clean air. It's one of the things I really miss about the US when living in Thailand. The next thing I miss, this, crosswalks. And cars actually stop for pedestrians. You can see here, they're waiting for us to cross. There's a respect for the pedestrian. I miss crosswalks because anywhere you walk in Thailand, maybe it makes you nimble, but you don't have this respect on the road for pedestrians. And you definitely don't have things like crosswalks and sidewalks. Those are some things I miss about the US when living in Thailand. Now, the next thing. I'll take you to the next thing I miss. See up there on the screen? My dad was in Normandy, World War II. He lived to be 100 years old. But the thing is, his ship was going into Normandy and the guy hit, and then they had to divert. Maybe it was good luck for me, otherwise maybe I wouldn't be here. But this is another thing I miss about the US. Museums. Museums, they're in every city. There's so many cool ones. This one in particular is in New Orleans. It's a World War II museum. There's other World War II museums around the country, but they usually focus on certain parts of the war. This one focuses on the entire war, World War II. It's another thing I miss about the US, all the great museums, especially when you go to cities like Washington, D.C., but you can go to any city and find a great museum. Now, the next thing I miss, something else I miss about the US, you can pretty much go to any drinking faucet and drink the water and not get sick. Because in most of Asia, most of the world, you try doing that and out of the faucet, you're getting sick. Almost any city in America, other than maybe Flint, Michigan, you might have to Google that if you don't know the story, it's sad. But in most of America right now, any city, you can drink the water. This is something I miss about the US. public libraries. Almost every neighborhood in the US has these little local libraries. So you can come here, you can even have a private room to record a podcast, or you can pick up a book about Thailand's islands and beaches, or you have people just doing some work at the tables here, having some quiet space to do some reading or working on the computer. It's another thing I miss about the US. So while I'm in bookworm mode, I'm gonna take you to the next stop, and another thing I miss about the US. Big bookstores with so many books to choose from. As a matter of fact, this is the largest independently owned bookstore in the United States. I miss it. I miss bookstores. And what do we have here? More Thailand books. I know there's pretty good bookstores in, say, Bangkok, but there's definitely nothing quite like this with all the assortment and variety of bookstores. As a matter of fact, it's even kind of hard to order books. I end up having to tell my friends when they come visit to bring books over. I miss this. Bookstores.
Can I get you a paper bag?
No paper bag today.
Yes.
Today I'm picking up 2 books, good for traveling. Young Pueblo and Lao Te Ching. A couple good little handbooks for some daily affirmations.
Yeah, it came. You're all set.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
This one does stuff on the balance.
Powell's Bookstore. It's a must visit if you're ever in Portland, Oregon. Here's something I miss about the US when I'm in Thailand. Free black coffee refills. You order your first coffee, and at a lot of coffee places around the US, including Starbucks, you get bottomless black coffee. So for these long work sessions, I enjoy it. This is a big thing I miss, Whole Foods. I'm a foodie, so I'm particular about the kind of ingredients I buy and the type of food I buy. And there's nothing like Whole Foods for me. I love it. Get all these great pumpkins. Pumpkins look a little bit different than they do in Thailand. For example, look at this unique looking thing. Yeah. So check out all the variety. This is one thing I miss about the US when I'm living in Thailand. There's so much variety, whether it's fruits and vegetables, whether it's meats, whether it's anything, and I'll show you more in a minute. But another thing I miss about the US when I'm living in Thailand is this. When something is labeled like organic or similar, there's a certain level of trust you can have in the label. And in a lot of parts of the world, including Thailand, they might throw the word organic on something, but you don't really know what's behind it or if you could trust it. Sometimes it's some product made in China full of toxic chemicals. When I buy something organic in the US, I can pretty much have faith and trust that that label is real. So I'm gonna buy this organic apple. As a matter of fact, this is one thing I do miss too about the US, all the apples. A lot of the apples you get in Thailand are shipped from here. Here's the Whole Foods butcher. All the meat, some of it says grass-fed, organic, and it says animal welfare certified. I can have a certain level of trust that it's real. Whereas in Thailand, I'm just not sure, so I end up not eating hardly any meat in Thailand at all. End up being mostly vegan and seafood. So check out this section. In regard to options and variety, this is all protein bars. I mean, check this out. All this section protein bars. So I'm just a few days away from traveling, so I'm gonna load up on a few of these. But you can see here, it's sometimes option overload in the US, because any product, any food, you're just gonna have so many options. But another thing I miss about the US when I'm living in Thailand is when you have a product in the US, it's gonna list all the ingredients. Whereas in Thailand, sometimes the ingredients aren't listed, or they only list some of them. Whereas here, there's laws that they must list everything that's in the product. It makes me have a more informed decision when buying stuff when I'm at the market. Thank you.
All right, and then there might be multiple items.
Another thing I miss about the US when I'm living in Thailand is this, Amazon. I know Thailand has Shopee and Lazada, but it doesn't compare to Amazon. Amazon's like 10 times better in regard to selection, quality, or even returns. And when I come to Whole Foods, they usually have the Amazon thing right here because Whole Foods was purchased by Amazon. But it's just convenient, it's easy, it's the best user experience, and I miss Amazon when I'm living in Thailand. It's just so much better than Shopee and Lazada. Another thing I miss about the US when I'm living in Thailand is stuff we put on the body, even like toothpaste or deodorant. I end up just loading up when I come home because when I get to Thailand, it's really hard to find skincare products or like toothpaste or deodorant that doesn't have all the chemicals. So I'm gonna go with the Toms. This one has fluoride free, no fluoride, no animal testing, no artificial flavors, no sweeteners, and no dyes. I'm also gonna load up on the Dr. Bronner's, again, fluoride free. Okay, got a good variety of toothpaste. This is all going back to Thailand with me. Oh, and I have an apple. Check this out. I'm gonna get my apple weighed right here. I call this something I miss about the US compared to Thailand. Easy weigh produce. I can't tell you how many times I got to the front of the counter here, my fault, where in Thailand you can only weigh it back where you buy it, back at the produce. I have to run all the way back there and get it weighed and come all the way back up with it labeled. Whereas here in the US, at all the checkout stands, they have a scale and they weigh right here. Something I miss about the US, even though it's kind of my fault that when I buy produce in Thailand, I should get it weighed back there. So this might be the part of the video where you guys are saying, what the heck is he talking about? Easy weigh produce. Let me give you an example. Here I am at a grocery store in Thailand. I'm gonna grab a pumpkin. Pumpkins look a little bit different than I showed you earlier at Whole Foods. I'm gonna take it up to purchase at the cashier, and they're gonna send me back here. You see that sign behind me? It says weigh station. There's only one scale in the entire store, whereas in the US, every single cashier, cash register, even the self-checkout, has scales. So we're gonna walk up here, all the way up here, to the cashier in this store, and then she's gonna look at me, kind of weird, and she's gonna say, take that pumpkin back to the weigh station. Watch. One pumpkin, please. Oh. You're actually really helpful. Usually they send me to go get this done. You're doing it for me. So now we're walking all the way back to the weigh station. Yeah. It's the only scale in the entire store, weigh station. So he's gonna put the sticker on it, that's how much it costs, and then she's gonna take it, and she's gonna bring it back up to the cash register, and we're gonna pay for it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Very good.
Very good. Okay, let's do this.
Thank you.
Easy weigh produce, guys. It's something I miss in the US, and this is why. Thank you. Whole Foods. It's something I miss about the US when I'm living in Thailand. Got all supplied. The other thing about the selection, in Thailand, a lot of products have the monopoly involved. Whether it's beer, you know, like you can only get a few beers, Leo, Sing, Chong, they're all owned by the monopoly. Whereas in the US, relatively, we have a free market. So you're gonna find a lot more products with a lot more variety and a lot more free market competition. So you're gonna probably end up with higher standards on a lot of products. Next stop. So I just came from Whole Foods. This is the next thing I miss about the US when I'm living in Thailand. Quite frankly, this is my favorite market, Trader Joe's. We got these plants. The theme is Dia de los Muertos, Halloween coming up. But I love Trader Joe's.
Excuse me.
Trader Joe's has all the great things of Whole Foods, but the price is a little more affordable. Same high quality. It's my favorite time of year. All this pumpkin themed food. I love pumpkin. I love anything spicy. We got pumpkin bread. I usually make that homemade when I'm back in Thailand. We even have pumpkin ice cream. One of my favorites, pumpkin butter. We even have pumpkin biscotti. We even have pumpkin spice liqueur. Amazing. But sometimes when you come to the US, you have so much variety, it's almost like variety overload. Sometimes it's easier to make a decision when you have fewer choices. I don't drink a lot, but sometimes I like to have a glass of wine. And in Thailand, I just skip it because in Thailand, they tax the wine so heavily, you end up really getting a crappy bottle of wine, way overpriced. And I miss this about Trader Joe's. I miss this about the US when I'm in Thailand. We can get a great bottle of wine at a good price. You know, this bottle right here is $19.99. In Thailand, they probably charge you $120 for that bottle, if you could even get it. Usually Thailand ends up with kind of the lower tier wine. They dump it all on places like Thailand, and then they overcharge you for it. So, not that I'm a big drinker, and in fact, when I live in Thailand, I drink a lot more tea. I don't drink alcohol because the value isn't there, and I just don't like to get ripped off, no matter what it is. And I feel like when I'm in Thailand, things that are imported, they tax them so heavily, it just ends up, I don't want to buy it because I don't want to pay 5 times the price or 4 times the price and have an inferior product. And the same goes for tequila. Here we are at Trader Joe's, and you still have some pretty good options of tequila. I mean, I usually do Don Julio 1942. I mean, you can come into Trader Joe's, get a really good Casamigos Reposado for $46. Not sure how much that is in Thailand, but it'd probably be $120, maybe even $150. You get it here at Trader Joe's for $46. Not that I'm a big drinker. Sometimes I like to sip on a tequila, but I just miss having good tequila options at an affordable price here in the US compared to when living in Thailand. I just end up drinking less when I'm in Thailand. It's probably healthier. I just end up drinking more tea, Thai tea, oolong tea. There's a lot of food I miss. Vietnamese food, fresh bowl of pho. I think it's pho, that's how you say it. But the Vietnamese food in the US is really good, and it's something I miss when I'm living in Thailand. I'm about ready to show you. What do you have here? Wow.
2 combination pho.
So it sounds weird. You know, you think being in Thailand, the Vietnamese food would be so good because it's a neighboring country. But guess what? It's not that good in Thailand, the Vietnamese food. In the US though, it's really good. Something else I miss about the US when living in Thailand, Mexican food. For that matter, most ethnic cuisines in the US are so good, and I miss a lot of them. And there's certain ones in particular that are extra good in the US and just so-so in Thailand, and one of them is Mexican food. And I think all the different ethnic food in the US reflects a lot about what America is and the culture. So for that, I'm gonna flash over to the next thing that I miss about the US when I'm living in Thailand, and it has more to do with the culture. And for now, I'm going to enjoy some mole and some shrimp tacos and catch up with you in a little bit.
So yeah, all the ethnic food in the US is really good because there's so many ethnic groups that are in the US. It's one thing I miss about the US when I'm in Thailand is the US is so non-homogeneous. It's so diverse. You feel all these different cultures. Here we are in Chinatown, San Francisco. Kind of feels like you might be in Hong Kong or even in China. And that goes for almost all cultures around the world. You'll find little pockets in the US that are just dense with cultural diversity and richness from other countries. I love it, man. I love that diversity, and I miss it a lot of times when I'm in Thailand. I miss this part about the US. I was just so diverse, and you get all this cultural experience being here. Getting ready to wrap this video up, and when I tell people that I'm publishing a video about 21 things I miss about the US when I'm living in Thailand, some people look at me surprised and say 21? Well, in fact, it could be 40 or more. I could list a bunch, especially when it comes to business. I've been living in Thailand the past 5 years. This is only my second time home during that time. My most recent time was last year, 2023, and I feel like the US feels better to me this trip in 2024 than it did last year. And I just have a renewed appreciation for the US, in particular when it comes to business. And I plan to spend a lot more time here. Am I homesick? Not yet. I'm still gonna make Thailand home base because it's about how I feel. And I feel healthier physically, mentally, and emotionally when I make my base in Thailand. Now, for something that the US is really good at, production, the show. And I'm gonna step out of the screen, let you guys enjoy the helicopters that are about ready to fly over and the cheerleaders. Guys, farewell till next time. My next video will be coming to you from San Francisco. See ya.